Timberger, please give me a call and we'll. There was no hero on. Royce Ruby was nobody's hero. He wasn't a hero to his comrades or fellow officers. He wasn't a hero to the community. He was a coward. He was a coward to shoot this single mother of two who had mental illness, who was having a meltdown, and think that everything is fine. And then
now let's see if we get something going here. Because they like to play with my stuff. Give thanks, Brother Izzy. They like to play with my stuff. They don't play with anybody else's stuff. But my stuff, they're going to play with. So we'll just bring it back. Just bring it back. And run again, since we have sound.
Minutes after hearing test 2 weeks, quickly, swiftly, return a justified on behalf of a 6-year-old child who was victimized by Officer Royce Ruby. This is a great day. This is a great statement on behalf of who have been victimized by police officers, too many in our community. This is a great day. I am. I cannot deny it. I must, if I said otherwise, I'd be telling you an untruth. And I've heard enough of those in the courtroom. So we are pleased, though, that the jury saw that this was, quite frankly, not that difficult a case when you consider the actual fact. We had a strong team that had a strong presentation over the 3 weeks of what the evidence was, and the jury got it. They saw it, they understood it, and they made a swift, quick work of it. That they cannot abuse the citizens. That they cannot. Look, they've been given a great right, a right to be police officers. No one requires them to take the job. But when you do it, you have to follow the Constitution. You cannot use excessive force.
What did he say about these highwaymen?
They cannot abuse the citizens. That they cannot. Look, they've been given a great right, a right to be police officers. No one requires them to take the job. But when you do it, you have to follow the Constitution. You cannot use excessive force. You cannot abuse the citizens, and you cannot abuse the babies.
Anything about what this means for Cody's security?
For Cody, means a lot. Now he's going to be able to do things and get the help that he really needs. It's a sad situation and what happened, and I'm very happy that the jury came back and saw and realized what was going on in that courtroom wasn't right, and what happened on August 1st wasn't right either.
I'm sure, obviously, it's a great win and whatnot. One thing that you said earlier that really stuck out is you said Cody is a shell of his former self, and knowing that that may never change, the emotions about that for yourself.
It's hard, and I had to take that day by day and just try to at least get him back a little back to who he was before this happened.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you all. All right. This was a long journey to justice, a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, phone calls 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning like it was 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The jury did their work, came up with a verdict that they believed was fair. They came up with an award that they felt was just, and we don't have anything else to ask. This brings about tremendous closure to this family. Everyone here is filled with emotion. Corinne is smiling today, posthumously. She got her day in court. And the great state of Maryland, the great county of Baltimore, we take with pride that 6 individuals from various and diverse backgrounds.
What did he say? The great what? The great what of Baltimore?
She got her day in court. And the great state of Maryland, the great county of Baltimore, we too are filled that 6 individuals from various and diverse backgrounds were able to come to a decision
give me a call
that would make our clients whole. And for that, we are truly grateful. Royce Ruby was nobody's hero to his fellow officers. He wasn't a hero to the community. He was a coward. Royce Ruby was a coward to shoot this single mother of 2 who had mental illness and who was having a meltdown, and think that everything is fine, and then accuse her person. You have to in her back.
Now let's see if we get something going here.
Blood. The bullet not only goes through both lungs, through her spine, and then as she's drowning in her own blood, her son is right behind her. He storms up upon her, aims his gun in a downward slope, and then empties 3 more rounds into her body. That's sick as you can get. I mean, that is sick, it's sadistic, it's misogynistic, it is just pure evil.
Let's just let the dirty Moors who justified this hear that again. In honor of Corn Gaines, people who saying because she asked for a delegation of authority order, she deserved to get murdered by these highwaymen. We'll just let this play one more time in her honor about how this coward killed her, murdered her, and these Moors with turbans and fezzes are telling you that because she stood up for her constitution, which is why the wrongful death suit was in favor, because they violated her constitutional rights. Same thing that Moors been telling you people. But nah, you don't want to hear what active Moors are saying. You want to listen to Moors who are backing this criminal behavior by these people that they say are police officers. These people are not police officers. These people are mercenaries. We've told you. We've put it on the record numerous amounts of times. You don't want to hear us. Okay, how about you listen to these European judges, these European jury? Because, you know, all them people on the jury, they got licenses and stuff. So you already know that they're property. Even the property knows. Even property knows that these people were guilty. And these Moors can't see that. These Moors are trying to make it seem like active Moors are the ones doing something wrong. And again, these people never ever once spoke out against these highwaymen. All they ever did was point the finger at the RV Bay publications. Well, the verdict's out now, punks. Now what are you going to say? What are you going to make a video about next? Because this proves that you guys are a fraud and you work for the dirty people. Because the dirty people got guilty verdict. So the fact that you're backing the dirty people, saying that this is sovereign citizen BS and she is practicing European anti-government, whatever, all you people are guilty now because the verdict's out. But let's just go back so we can relive how they murdered her. Since now there's no gag order and we could actually talk about it since the verdict's out.
Back punctures both lungs through her spine. And then as her son is right behind her, he storms up upon her, downward slope, and then empties 3 more rounds into her body. That's as sick as you could get. It's sadistic, it's misogynistic, it is just pure evil. And I'm glad the jury saw through all the decisions of the state's attorney and not be in any way swayed by that, but were willing to listen to all the facts and the evidence they had promised at the outset and come up with a decision that was fair and just, and they did that. I hope that Schellenberger is now second guessing his decision. I have no degree of faith that he would reconsider it, but if there's someone who's intending to run against Schellenberger, please, and we'll provide you with the information on Officer Royce Ruby. Royce Ruby was nobody's hero. He was a hero to his comrades or fellow officers, the community. He was a coward. Royce Ruby to shoot this single mother of 2 children who had mental illness, a mental illness breakdown, and think that everything is fine. Comrade or fellow officers to the community, he was a coward. Royce Ruby was a coward to shoot this single mother of 2 children who was having a mental illness breakdown and think that everything is fine. And then firing her weapon in their direction when he knows that there's no residue on Corinne Gaines' arms or hands. Shell casings that they claim were found under her body should have been, if you consider the position that he alleged she fired from, when he knows that there were no shotgun pellets recovered from this case, 3 defects in the wall that appeared to be from a shotgun, but they only alleged that she fired 2 rounds. And when he knows for her to be pointing her weapon to see more than merely her braids in the barrel of the gun, and she would have to see at least some portion of her body, at least her head. Royce Ruby was aiming his weapon at Corinne Gaines' head, but not just her head, the back of her head. His intent was to kill Gaines, meet her.
These are the dudes. These are the dudes that these Moors are backing, saying that because she asked for a delegation of authority order, she deserved to get what she got. Told you that these Moors are sellouts. And I realized that he has the number 7 jersey. They ain't know about no Kaepernick. He has number 7 jersey. Remember, it's Friday the 16th, which is 7. Remember, it's Holy Day. Just keep all this in mind. Just keep all that in mind. Just keep all that in mind. And Islam's sister, Mother Rosmariah Bey, who brought this to my attention a few minutes ago. So I said, might as well just go live right now. Might as well just go live. I figure we might as well just go live because, you know, it's very interesting how this thing's playing out right now. Very interesting. Islam, Mother Raz, how you doing? Well, I'm doing well. I just want to let you know that since you sent me the article, I'm live on YouTube right now, and we were just watching some of the verdict in the wrongful death lawsuit for our good sister Corin Gaines. So, you know, we're live. I just wanted to know if you had anything to add with regard to the verdict.
Well, you know, I haven't read it yet, and you guys are looking, but I know wrongful death because that's pretty good. And I'm sorry that the sister didn't have, that in order to be understood by the wrongful death, even if thing.
I don't know if you can. We're getting a little bit of breaking up because I've been having problems.
Okay, all right, this might be. No, this might be better.
I've been having problems too. I've been having problems too. So you know they're trying to. So if you could start over, just start over again and continue on.
I'm all right. I haven't read the full article yet myself, and I understand you guys are looking at it. However, wrongful death is wrongful death, and that's what it is. That's what it was. It's sad that the sister had to lose her physical in the flesh life and be what some people may say is a martyr, but you know that's not what that is. It was wrongful death because that's what it is lawfully, and I see now that that I trust that the people will see now what it actually is, and I have a special message out for that. What's that guy's name on that Moorish TV?
He knows who he is. Don't worry. you just put your message out. You just put your message out. He knows who he is.
All right. Well, I'll say this. If it was in fact RV Bay Publications' fault, then we would be paying the millions to our family. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Yes.
And I also would say there's a lot going on. Prophet Noble Ali said, listen to the newspaper and the radio at that time. In this electrifying age, we had the Bluetooth for that, or the television. But it's so much going on that is enforcing that which we know to be true. It's like right in our face. I don't know if you got my message earlier also about guns in schools and that big thing that happened where the 19-year-old bought an AR-15. Well, today they had a fake gun that they thought was a real gun that one of the students brought in because they're messing with them. And so now they're talking about losing more freedoms and turning the children, the students, the frightful students into snitches. And if you see anything on the other students' social media books or whatever, to report it.
Yeah.
Well, see, the prophet told you, this is another force to make changes. Take your children. We're not supposed to even really be in there, and we need to be working towards that. But the force to make changes is upon us now. It's either that or continue to be Negro slaves and allow them to continue to take more of your freedom, which I don't think is going to happen because at this point, this thing is over. This thing is over.
What we were listening to earlier, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. The lawyer, one of the lawyers for the case, when he started speaking, he was saying that it's good that the verdict came out and all of that because now she's getting justice or whatever, and that the police, this is the officer of the court talking, that the police violated her rights.
Ooh.
Because they have to follow the Constitution.
Oh, how about yesterday when they nixed, or the other day when they nixed the travel ban, saying that it was what? Unconstitutional, correct?
Right.
Correct. The Constitution, the prophet said enforce the Constitution. You know, when are we going to get that? When are we going to get that? That's what he said, because that's what needs to be done. And that's what all of this is being gauged upon, the Constitution, that our people have tried to enforce everything except that. And you're being forced to make changes again. All of this is gauged on due process, or the delegation of authority is what the Constitution is. It is a huge delegation of authority, and it wraps up with due process.
No,
That's what it is.
As well, just as you mentioned that. So be on top of, you know, since like the statement you made earlier, that, you know, I guess if RV Bay was the one that did it, they would have been paying out the how much ever million or whatever, right? So now, what does this mean? What does the verdict mean with regard to things like delegation of authority order and, you know, right to travel, and what does the verdict mean for those things?
Absolutely enforces the fact that, you know, these people who operate on this land as companies, corporations, what you think is government authority, which are really companies who are absolutely under the law of this land. Article 6 tells you anything they make in their policies, laws, constitution, if it is violates what's in this Constitution, the Supreme Law, it doesn't have standing. So when even with Corinne Gaines, when she was talking, they were talking about she's asking for a delegation of authority. That's what it's all about. Who has the authority to tell you what you can and cannot do? Now, the only thing we as the people need to be cognizant of is that we have a right to do what we want. However, we have the obligation and responsibility not to infringe on the next person's rights, which means to be civil, which is why Prophet established a civic organization to teach us those things that are civil, so that we don't infringe on each other's rights and liberty. So, yeah, it takes a whole new meaning of delegation of authority to the eyes and the ears of those who can see that is what it's really about.
Now, would this also mean that they actually didn't have delegated authority?
Oh, most oh, listen, most definitely they didn't have. Yes, thanks, Cujo. I see where you're going. That's absolutely the truth. They did not have it. They did not have it. They did not have. You know what? Now that also goes to those who are out there talking about, well, you gotta follow the laws of the driving thing and the street and all that. It goes straight to it that is not authority. Yes, this is a big, I don't want to say win over someone's life, but it's a big demonstration of what is lawful and what is not. No, they didn't have lawful authority to do what they did or to do what they've been doing and, you know, and hindering you. And look, you are aware, or are you not? Just last week, I believe it was, or 2 weeks ago, they also put out the Justice Department that you cannot suspend, for those who do use that licensed instrument for whatever it is, you cannot suspend someone's license from failure to make a payment to the municipality. Wow. What do you think that's saying?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a first to me. That is like real powerful. This thing is their fault. It's coming down. So therefore, if you can't suspend the license for failure to pay them, they're telling you everything you need to know. You know, you have a right to travel, or if you're going to be doing commerce and carrying cargo goods, passengers and stuff that's regulated for safety reasons, then even with that, you know, they can't suspend. They made finances off of your liberty, your basic liberty to move to and fro. So that was a press release that came out a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, this thing is over. And those people who don't know what's lawful, don't know what authority is, they need to get with that and understand.
Oh, since I have you on the phone, this is kind of off topic, but one of these people were saying that, you see, because you have a license, what you do is you park around the corner from the class, and then you walk to the class so nobody could see you with.
Oh, I heard about that the other day. Oh my gosh. Well, if I'm not taking my vitamin C and magnesium, I think I will blow my top on some of this crazy stuff. What is that all about? First of all, they don't know that I have not navigated either way in years. So what are they talking about? Like, I remember we used to park around the corner because there was no parking in the front of the building. That was years and years and years ago. What are they speaking about? What is that?
Yeah,
what
because
what are they trying to get?
Because the idea is that they're trying to say that, well, you know, you teach people should go out there and exercise right to travel and all of that, but you don't do it. Or you teach go to court and stand up for your rights, but you don't do it. Or, you know, or you know, Taj teaches, you know, claim a house, but he never claimed one or whatever like that. So
yeah,
that's where where they were kind of going with that.
Oh, I see. Well, first of all, they don't even know what they're talking about, because me personally, I wouldn't tell them if I did or I didn't, especially them in terms of, you know, claiming something, because I can see what they would do with that. Next thing I know, they'd be, you know, at my door and stuff, you know. So, no, I'm not having really, when I heard that one about, you know, I parked around the corner and whatever, and this is the reason why, you know, suddenly for a minute, I felt like, oh my gosh, you know, like who told them that? Like, who's watching to see whatever is being done and why is it so important? But I understand they're saying we don't do it. They don't know what we've done.
Right.
You know, they don't know what we've already gone through and what we still go through, or whether or not it's, you know, we choose to get behind the wheel and take a whatever, that's what we still may do. They don't know that. So they're trying to use, you know, I don't even really know. But I guess here's the deal. If that's the case, and that's what they're trying to prove, this whole thing with what I just told you about, you know, the Justice Department and this lack of authority where this system was concerned, should throw all that stuff, you know, out the window.
Right.
And if they were to know what that the Justice Department has a program for the federal program for drivers only, and that these local smaller municipalities, which is where I'll say the Roman soldiers are, they have violated that, and that is over. You know, it's like serious.
Right.
And because we don't have knowledge of what it is, they can tell us anything, and that's what they've been doing. So it's time for us to, you know, wake up on this.
Islam. Well, thank you for your time. I didn't want it to disturb your day, but you know, and happy holy day, by the way, to you and everybody else. I said
oh yes, holy day today.
Yeah.
Hey, what a wonderful day to get some wonderful news and you know, like I said, the Prophet said, watch everything. It's happening. It's really happening. And I will say this to the people who are raising their consciousness and their mental, be very careful now of others who may be around you that are not, you know, such as these slanderers like that, you know, and there's other people who at this time, when this vibration is so high, and if they lack the foundational information, then they will not know how to receive the truths that are shining so brightly. They won't know where to put them, and they'll have what I call an exorcism, and they might throw up all over you. So you got to be very careful.
Yeah.
And if you're the only one, be the only one, you know, but be very careful of the energies and the spirits around you, especially now, because They're working real hard, and many of them look just like you.
Islam. Thank you, mother.
Islam. All right, peace and love.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, Morris. You want more? You want more? Let's get some more. Let's get some more. Let's get some more perspectives of our sister's wrongful death lawsuit verdict in her favor, that these people are criminals that these Moors were backing. People are criminals that these Moors were backing. Right? Islam more.
Islam, Luke.
How
Islam,
you doing?
yes.
Happy holy day
Everything
to you, bro.
great. Happy holy day.
So you know, we like to do the thing where, you know, we just want to build, you know what I mean? Ain't nothing scripted and all of that stuff, you know?
Right.
So,
right.
You know, just the fact that the verdict came out, forget what, you know, the transcript says and all that. Verdict is wrongful death suit in favor of Corin Gaines. You know,
right.
What does that look like to you?
Well, from my perspective, based on all the drama that was put out in the community around the case, saying that the sister was practicing sovereign citizenship activities, it's clear that she wasn't, right? Because they seen that some form of remedy should be given to her family in regards to how she was treated by these civil servants. The proof is in the pudding. If people want to continue to folly and promote nonsense as opposed to being lawful and demonstrating what is right from wrong, let the dead bury the dead, Grand Sheik.
For real. For real.
Right? We're at a point in time where this quote unquote census is coming up within the next year. Cases like this could be put in the spotlight to be used as tools to teach people what right looks like as opposed to what wrongs looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the individuals who criticize her demonstration could prepare another way of demonstrating what she did in a manner that's more fitting to their liking. Right. But again, the fact that she acted in the way that she did and was awarded due to her unfortunate transition shows that she was on the right path.
Mm.
So again, I think there's it's an oil and water mixture now.
Okay, now,
so
now
if you want to,
no, I was just gonna say, could you, you know, in your mind, just go into what you just said a little bit more?
Right. So, I'll use a military reference because, you know, I'm ex-military soldier, right? So in the military, you're awarded ribbons to wear on your uniform, right? And the wheat always needs to be facing up, right? So when it's a harvesting time, you need to separate the wheat from the chaff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That which is useful as opposed to that which is not. So continue to build on the analogy of the oil and water mixture. There's obviously some Moors who don't want to see the righteous Moors prosper. And they are, as you continue to demonstrate, benefiting from maybe some back-end dealings by stifling the movement. Cases like this show that active, civic-minded Moors are what Noble Drew Ali asked for, as he said in the Divine Warning. And, you know, like I said, we're on the right path because he put us up in that Zeppelin, right, or the apparatus, and removed us from the folly, right? Because these Moors think they're on the same path with us, but they obviously not.
Right, right. No.
So I
know that you're a numerologist and all that, but you know, just to get your perspective, with today being the 17 or the 7, I mean, you know, the 6 and 1, and then the brother wearing a 7 jersey, right? And then there's 7 people that's on the screen when he's talking? Like what?
Right.
You know, what's that leading to for you? Like, is it just a repetitive theme?
Well, I was told that signs and symbols are for children of wisdom. Synchronicity can be seen by those who are ready to see it. So with that being said, today is the holy day, like you alluded to, right? 7 is a number of law, right? It's not the number of completion, because completion is 9, but it's a number of either you're going to do the right thing or you're going to do the wrong thing, right? 7 is that judgment number, right? So a judgment was rendered today, right? It was found that Lorraine James was on the right path. She was doing the right thing. Again, maybe she didn't demonstrate, you know, in the manner in which, you know, these passive Moors wanted her to be. And I think that's the only disagreement they have with her demonstration.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you listen to the way in which the attorney was repainting the crime scene, there's no way a civil servant could have been in his right mind when he dealt with her.
Right.
Right. So you were talking about something before, because she had some litigation dealing with the community, that municipality of Baltimore. Who's to say that this might not have been a hit? Right. What is 30 million, for lack of a better word, what is $30 million to people who print up money?
For real.
It's not really a big deal, right? Because they don't get audited, right? So this could be something to be like, hey, yes, she got, you know, she transitioned and we did a payoff.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it, you know, different at the same time, right? Are we going to always accept the quote unquote payoff?
Hold on,
right?
Hold on 1 second. I always wanted to do this. Let me just call Brother Bakari and get both of y'all out here at the same time, because this is going to be crazy. Hold on.
As well. I haven't spoken to Bakari in a minute.
Yeah, let's see how this goes now. Hold on, boys. Hold on.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Answer the phone, boy.
Not.
Yeah, he didn't answer. He'll call me back. Yeah. So now you also talked about and again, we were talking about this last night in class too, with this post-traumatic war, whatever. Right. Hold on, you just said call him back. 1 sec. But what I'm gonna get to, just so you could know, you were talking about his mind state in order to do something like this. So I just wanted you to talk about that. Hold on a sec.
Right.
Hold on, boys. We're getting it together. Islam. Yeah, peace, more. Let me just bring Wasim back in. Islam, are you there?
Islam, yeah.
All right. So yeah, Brother Wasim. So with regard to the mind state, and then Brother Bakari could just, you know, jump in or whatever. But I'm looking at this from how you're looking at it with a military mindset. So we're not looking at, you know, everyday Joe out here who thinks they know something about people's mindset after they go through traumatic situations or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? So you know, what does it show him having the mind state to deal with her in this fashion now that the truth is out? Because we didn't have this info before. This is new news.
Right. From a standpoint of being an ex-soldier, right? I know anytime with civilians, there's this thing called a rule of engagement, right? So what that should help me identify as a soldier going to execute is my level of aggression or my steps of escalation of aggression that I should show to that civilian when I interact with them, right? So the fact that he went from 0 to 100, meaning that he took the life of this this individual, Corinne Gaines, shows me that he may not have been following his rule of engagement, being that it was only her and I believe her young son in the vehicle, right? Was it only them two?
Yeah, well, it was at the house they're talking about. But yeah, it was them. It was only them there anyways.
Again, so when they came to the scene, there was no weapon, right? It was just her and her son, right? So what could have been in the environment for him to, again, unload his weapon in that fashion? I don't know. Now, his mindset, right, I don't know how long he had been on the force, but that's neither here nor there, right? His everyday training should have prepared him for the pressures that came along with exercising in that particular instance, right? So he should have never, if they want to say he broke down or he got scared or whatever, that it should have never escalated to that point is what I'm saying. So his brain was already in we want to say lack of, it was unprepared. It was unfit for duty, right? We'll call it that. It was unfit for duty. So we could say that it also kind of shows that maybe there was some other foul play going on with the situation, right? Because just again, him being a regular day-to-day civil servant, he shouldn't have acted in that fashion. I yield on that.
Islam, Brother Bakari.
Yes, I have a couple of quick questions just to get me on track here. So, what are we? Who are we talking about here?
We're talking about Sister Corinne Gaines. Her wrongful death suit verdict was in her favor, awarded some millions.
Okay.
For when the highwaymen went in and murdered her. And then these were the same, this was the same case that Moorish World and those people were saying because she listened to Taj, she got murdered.
Oh, okay. And how does military personnel, like what does that have to do with this situation?
Because in the interview with the lawyer, they're talking about the details of the case now because she won. So one of the things that came up was that she didn't fire at them. She actually got shot in her back. And then when she got shot in her back and she was choking on her own blood and all that stuff, he then shot her again 3 times. So Brother Wasim was saying that, you know, there's some mental issues if he's going to go there. And then, you know, that's why we said, okay, well, let's look at this from a military mind, because we already know King Alfred Plan and all these things. People think that these people are police when they might be mercenaries. They might be people from other countries that they bring here to be police.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
so,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So here we go. All right. So, what I would, you know, the first thing that I would want to identify, like in terms of rules of engagement, like when you speak about rules of engagement, like you know, from a military perspective, you're talking about specifics that aren't necessarily always adhered to in combat. And there are various different things that uphold rules of engagement, such as the Geneva Conventions and various things that you're not supposed to do. For instance, when you fire upon soldiers on the ground or in the air, if they're in a parachute, you're not supposed to do certain things, and you're only supposed to fire at them with certain types of ammunition. So that would pertain to rules of engagement. As it pertains to the mindset of an individual, okay, we would have to look into his background to ascertain specifics, what his history was, what does he know, what was he exposed to, has he ever been involved in any sort of previous instances where his flight has, caused someone to die unnecessarily, or, is he a hothead? Is he trigger happy? Things of that nature. As it pertains to whether or not this individual is just an idiot or has some sort of, or is working for a specific agenda, then there are other things that you can look at as well. And so, but in terms of military perspective, some of the best policy enforcers can be individuals who are from the military, because in the military, if you aren't hampered by PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, what you have, if you've been in combat arms or you're in like a tier 1 MOS, such as SEALs, Special Forces, things of that nature, Green Berets, etc., is that you have a lot of training on engagement. You have a lot of training on how your own body functions. So you know physiologically that when you are getting into a potentially dangerous situation where you may have to draw your weapon, you are already ahead of the game, because you will be one of the best individuals to de-escalate a situation. Now, I say that with a caveat, if you will, because again, if you have an individual that is suffering from some sort of mental disorder like PTSD, and this individual is unfit because he can go from 0 to 100 and not be able to control his adrenaline, or not be able to control his reactions, then he's dangerous. But if you have an individual, as I said before, who has gone through all of this firearms, small arms training, etc., then he can be a great asset. So first you have to determine, the intangibles.
Tell them about that 500 test questionnaire, Brother Bakari.
Yes.
To determine the intangibles.
I'm sorry?
Now, I was going to say, tell them about the 500 test questions that we go through in the military to determine intangibles, whether you're psychologically fit to perform.
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand the question.
Oh, did you ever, while you were in the military, like when I went to school for SF, before I could try out, I had to undergo a psychological test, right? The test consisted of 500 questions, which are all pretty much the same questions, just asked in different forms, just to see if I was telling the truth about my mental state. So things like that, or I was going to say, are tools that they use to determine intangibles, amongst other things.
Yeah, like I wouldn't know about that because I'm not Special Forces. I was a 19 Delta Cav Scout, and I have Desert Storm experience, combat experience. So I can't speak on those 5, questions, but again, like what I can speak on is that regardless of whether or not you are exposed to those types of questions and you get through special forces and you're assigned to a unit, that there are a lot of things, variables that take place throughout your military career. A lot of things are going to happen based on the type of unit that you're in and influences and your own character. So you may start off as a good guy and end up as an idiot or a bad guy. You see what I'm saying? And so, so there are a lot of things there, because there are individuals who go through combat arms, who have combat experience, special forces, and they end up becoming mercenaries. And they just, you know, rent their services out to the highest bidder. So regardless of those questions, regardless of, you know, screening, you know, you're still going to have you know, individuals who want to do certain things.
Now,
did I answer your question?
Yeah, that was clear. That was clear.
Right.
So in the case of something like this, where it's obvious that this person is a 0 to 100, is it only whoever hired, or is it only the individual who did the murder that's liable, or is it supposed to go up the chain?
Well, you know, I'd like to address that. I'd like to address that because look, from what I know now, I've never held a position as a policy enforcer, but I've spoken to individuals who have, and most of the places in Northwest North America, their training is poor. Concerned about upholding law. Concern is to protect the corporations and their interest, protecting the public. Because if that was really the case, the thing that they would get would reflect that. Also, think about this. Every time, generally speaking, every time that there is a large or a shooting of a quote unquote African American that is, you know, in the public arena because there's some sort of video, one of the first things that they say, when I say they, it's generally individuals who are working for that corporation or for that so-called police force and training, things that they come out with. Now, I'm 53. I'm going to be 54 in September. I have been hearing this since I was 10 years old. Brooklyn, New York, East Flatbush. So it's not about training. Okay, now we can talk to they have a track record.
You're breaking up more.
That they have a track record. Them have a track record, and it's been going on for decades. It's not just in the past 5 years. You know, it's the same thing over and over, and people acting like they don't know what's going on. I yield the floor.
Well,
Love.
I will want to concur with what Brother Bakari said. I'll say that guns don't kill people, people do. I would also like to highlight that the fraternal shield that they wear was the same shield that was used to capture slaves. With that being said, like he alluded to, I think they used the doctrine of training to try to hide behind as a shield. I was discussing something with Brother Navi L today, and we came to the conclusion that people are born with morals. They don't really need guidance to tell them what's right and wrong. So if you're put in such a situation where you see the person doesn't have a weapon to fire back if you would harm you, why would you ever have to shoot them? Especially when you have secondary weapons such as tasers, right, to subdue the assailant, quote unquote assailant, right? So like again, what Brother Bakari was saying was that the same training, we got to do better training, we got to get better with training, is just a safety net, right? Because just like we always say, right, or just like the prophet said, the call was for active, not passive individuals. Active is being a participant in whatever is going on. So if you see wrong, right, kind of like they were showing you in training day, right, you don't go with the wrong, right, unless you want to get shot in your butt and turned on like Alonzo, right, because you have the choice. The choice is yours. It's free will, right? What is your intent when you're actually executing that particular action, right? Is it to do the right thing or to do the wrong thing? The only time you can make the decision is in that moment. So I don't think, yes, again, training comes into the moment by, hopefully you're trained enough to do muscle memory and don't get shot, but you still have to have a cognitive reasoning going on all the time. And apparently it didn't kick in for this individual, and the sister was slain. So.
All right, Mozo Islam, give thanks for the input. We're just gonna watch the last 6 minutes or something like that of this attorney speaking, but I'll keep you on the phone in case something comes up. You could just jump in.
Islam. Peace, Brother Bakari, by the way.
Again?
I was saying peace to you, by the way, as well.
Islam.
All right, one second.
We should talk sometime.
Yes.
Was behind a wall and he shot his round from outside of her apartment through drywall to strike her as she's in the kitchen fixing her son and jelly sandwich. That is sick. Very, very sick, man.
Are there any changes you'd like to see? If so, what are they?
We want to see constitutional police. That's all we want. As citizens of this great state and residents of this great county of Baltimore, we just want constitutional policing, and too much.
Let's just back that up a little bit.
A peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That is sick.
Are there any changes you'd like to see specifically?
Like anybody else, we want to see that's all we want. As Americans, as citizens of this great state of Maryland, as citizens and residents of this great county of Baltimore, we just want constitution. That shouldn't be asking too much.
As Americans, not as
like anybody else. We want to see constitution. That's all we want. As Americans, as citizens of this great state of Maryland, as citizens and residents of this war, We just want, and that shouldn't be asking too much. We're demanding it because we have a right to it. And weed out all the bad officers. Ruby, even though he's no longer with the tactical unit, I think we all know by now this was his second kill. This was his second kill. And so he's done enough damage. He's in this county. And it's time for him to go. So what I'd like to see is Royce Ruby fired. My family. Gotta speak.
I want to first thank my family, dream team, my dream. They collected the evidence that obviously wasn't available to even have a criminal trial, but they were able to collect officers who admittedly told the truth during deposition, but lied during the testimony period. I don't understand that. And how anyone could be so cruel to just extinguish a light, knowing that it was wrongfully done, try to hide behind a badge. And for all.
I hear there's audio issues. I don't know what's going on. Can't call it. Really don't know what's going on. Really don't know what's going on. But the point should be made that we're talking about something that is being put on the record live. Live. It's being put on the record. All right. All this weird stuff happening, like, you know what I mean? Not supposed to be switching screens and you're seeing the screens I'm going to and stuff like that. It's not supposed to be skipping and all that. Everything was fine until I pushed live. Watch the video, no problem. 7 minutes. I'm like, bam, 7 minutes. I'll just push record, go live. This thing shouldn't be too long or whatever like that. Up in here, still. Just because. And now everything's fine. Audio all of a sudden. This is what it is. But we just wanted to put it out there. You know what I mean? That justice was served. And for all the Moors to recognize that justice was served. And for all the dirty Moors to recognize that you were wrong. And you should repent for your sins. For being sellouts. Siding with people, murdering people. But we know you won't. Because you already got your handout. So, Moors, dirty Moors, we see you. Islam to all the Moors that tune in. Show yourself, you know, there's the things, so it doesn't make sense wasting time on this beat. Islam to all the Moors. Peace and love. Happy Holy Day. Yeah, Moors.